And what are you studying?
French literature.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. What period?
Middle Age and Renaissance.
Wow.
He might sound charming, but watch out for Simon. He's turning the Parisian dating scene into a twisted sociology experiment, one innocent conquest at a time. Brady Corbet plays our perverse little prince, while director Antonio Campos is behind the camera, urging him on to ever darker depths.
How the width of one object is given a weighted average of the objects around it. And it's called size pooling. Anyway, it's boring, I know. But it was published, actually.
Wow. What are you doing in Paris?
Honestly?
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
Peter, this reminded me a little bit of a film out last year called The Woman in the Fifth. And
yes.
What is it about Paris that turns the American male quite so nasty?
I know what you mean. The Woman in the Fifth wasn't as hardcore as this,
No.
actually. I mean, there are lots of things that this has been influenced by. I think the resemblance to The Woman in the Fifth is kind of accidental, to be honest with you. I really like this. I thought this was a really gripping contemporary noir with maybe a little bit of Mr. Ripley in this kind of open, rather damaged, vulnerable guy in Paris who seems to be getting out of his depth and more into a violent situation. And you're invited to think, well, is he okay? Is he going to be okay? Or is it something that's pre-existing in his mind all the time? Are we just getting something which was always destined to happen? I really love this filmmaker's first movie, After School, which was a very American film, but obviously influenced by high European art house directors. I suspect that what Campos has seen is some of the movies by Gaspar Noé. I think certainly with the dark, disturbing kind of I'm getting lost in Paris feel and the strobe in and strobe out kind of ways of linking scenes is very like Noé. I think it's great stuff. The Campos is such a talented filmmaker.
Catherine, this is part of a clutch of movies from a stable of filmmakers that includes producer Sean Durkin. He's the guy who wrote Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene. He was also involved in films like Two Gates of Sleep, which again was very small, starred Brady Corbet, but it was very similarly kind of weird and out there, like modern Americana. And I think they're a really interesting group of people, particularly led by Corbet, who's managed to make it into things like Melancholia. Did you think that Corbet carried this film in the way that he needed to?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an absolutely brilliant performance. And the thing is that although it is sort of hardcore and hard to watch, it's also, as Peter says, incredibly sort of strangely easy to. It's the sort of mumblecore Noé. You know, it's really, it's kind of fun almost.
What I always thought was great about it is that usually within the first few frames you can say, when you watch a film, you say, yeah, that's an American indie. Or you say, yeah, that's European art house. I couldn't tell this with this film. I thought it would really interestingly, it had fused the two sensibilities in a really interesting way.
It's interesting because in its unassuming way, it's real kind of evidence of a pan-global thing. And also that's the case with Oblivion, of course. It's so completely divorced from reality, so completely divorced from any kind of political tension, that you can see how it's been machine-tooled for global consumption, and even the casting is sort of ticking various boxes along the way. And the interesting thing, particularly about Oblivion in that way, is that it's coming up against Olympus Has Fallen, which is out next week, which shares huge amounts of plot, theme, and even cast, and that's unbelievably specific geopolitically. Whereas this week is the week of, you know,
Geographic mystique.
Exactly.
How long were you together?
For almost 5 years. I moved in with her right after graduation. Things were, well, they were nice for a while. But then she wasn't happy anymore, or I wasn't making her happy. She didn't like what she was doing. I tried to be supportive, encourage her not to settle, but then I'm living at home now. Excuse me, I'm not feeling so well. Still feeling jet lag.